Ricky, you can send him back to Brooms. Where's Ricky? All right. Sorry about that, but the good news is that you missed nothing. We just extended the 20-minute moment of this action because we didn't want you to Washington at the 20-minute mark. Again, what's on the line? Boston has never lost a series in the regular season. Washington already beat them once yesterday. Could do it again today. They have the 10-point lead. What they don't have is the snitch on pitch advantage. Obviously, a great stable of seekers on the Boston side. And a little bit more of a struggle, plus the strong play of Nasta and Dolan. Hutton is going to get the start. He did have the catch yesterday for Washington.
Yeah, as Nasta and Dolan set up the bubble around the snitch, Colin Bourne is going to beat out Harry Greenhouse here. But the Boston Forge are comfortable having this on the shoulders of Harry Greenhouse and Tyler Beckman in the seeker game.
Yeah, and Nasta immediately wins the first exchange, which is going to give Greenhouse time to work. What will the offense try to do? Heald's going to bring it all the way down. She's working on Dastu. Going to go around Dastu. She's got plenty of options. Bear is unmarked. We know Bear has a trademark shot from that area, but for now she's just going to reset it to Farnan. So much time for Greenhouse. And Nasta just turned around and made the beat, which is going to give Doyle the free space to run end-to-end.
And Nasta just caught a bludger too, and so he's going to reset that bubble.
Yeah. Nasta is ultimately dominating this game right now as Costa puts one in easily on the fast break. We are not up at 50. Game is to 110. It's going to take a big play here from the beating game of Admirals to turn this around, and Gregorian is now making his first appearance in the game, and he makes a big beat on Nasta for bludger control right off the bat.
Oh, what an entrance from Zach Gregorian.
Trudeau puts a spin move on Costa, but Costa stays wrapped to him. For the first time now, it is Washington advantage around the snitch. Doyle goes diving for one, but Trudeau's going to drive, finds Farnan. Farnan hit the game winner yesterday, and this time she's going to put one in. Score is now 60-50 Washington. And now Brendan Hutton has his chance with Barnard. A catch could be pretty decisive here for Washington. He's getting a lot of time. He shoots. He's got it. He has the sock.
Brendan Hutton, what an entrance.
All it took was one spacing created by his beaters. And Hutton, who has played so many positions for this program, from keeper to chaser, beating this year and now seeking. There's going to be discussion. There was some short movement. It's a question of whether the short movement happened first. The catch is good. The Admirals are 2 goals away from knocking down the Boston Forge.
Oh, and you can see what it means to them. You can see what it means to their fans. They're going to focus now and try to put this game away and take the first ever series victory over the Boston Forge.
You can't say anything negative about what Nasta and Dolan were doing around that snitch, but Hutton took his one opportunity and made it count in the biggest way. 95-50. In favor of Washington. The game is to 110. Costa's beat out of here. Gregorian stayed in the game. Gregorian could not have played a bigger 20 seconds of Quidditch in his entire life.
Not at all.
High press here from Gregorian. They're feeling comfortable in the zone. You love to see it. Archibald's just going to bring it down the right side, protected by Nasta, marked loosely by Farnan. Farnan will be beat out. Gregorian knocks out Dolan. Dastu is behind the hoops. Trudeau stepping out to her, looking for a wrap to force turnover. She gets out to Doyle, but Doyle's immediately met by Burgess. Jump ball. Archibald slaps it. He's not going to score a goal, but he will get it back to Costa without using a reset. Nasta just whiffs on a beat on Gregorian. Burgess is going to try to protect them both. He's going to beat Dastu, which is going to send Boston's ball all the way back. Luckily, Boston didn't use the reset because I think they're about to have to, and he will. Burgess runs it up, forces the reset out of Costa. Dale Farnan subs out. Brian Mulcahy in. It is the veteran old Boston line of qualifier players looking to defeat the new one. Misbeat there by Burgess. Nasta, who's going to get the ball? The ball's going to be given to Boston. Archibald, loose ball. Mulcahy strips it off of him.
And there's Mulcahy again falling on the loose ball. Incredible to secure that turnover from Mulcahy.
Montero and Collier subbing in. I think they had a very solid shift their first time out in this game. Now they are protecting do or die time because it just needs 2 more goals from Washington. And I'd like to see Washington's beaters get pretty aggressive, knowing that all that matters is them putting a couple more through the hoops.
I think you're going to see that. Cody Nardone recognized that situation. Melissa Smith recognized that situation yesterday as they knock out Kieran Collier quickly.
Just an exchange of no beats because Melissa Smith was called clear, but bludger control stays with Boston. Trudeau in no rush to get the offense going here. Sheridan has the ball all the way behind, S2 marking. Slips by her enough to get out to the wing and swing it back to Trudeau. Trudeau makes a nice block on a Montero beat. Gets flipped over by Costa. Loose ball flying everywhere. Mulcahy eventually falls on it.
And there's no bludgers for the Washington Admirals.
Doyle marking him tightly. Costa comes flying in because Doyle came down. Nardone beating everyone out. Shades of yesterday. And Mulcahy finds Bear. The Washington Admirals are one goal away.
What passing from the Washington Admirals. What intelligence from Brian Mulcahy to find Julia Bear there on that far hoop. And the bludger just did not come back quickly enough to Serena Montero to make the beat in time.
You know, I was watching closely the last play of the last game with Nick Jablonski last night, and one thing we noticed is most beaters don't even do what Nardone did on the last play of that game and go all the way deep into the zone to beat off chasers. He did it again here, and that was the difference maker on this play. They're now one goal away, scurry into the game.
Yeah.
It's going to take 6 goals from Boston.
And he told us in his post-game interview that's exactly what he was trying to do. Ryan Fenning now with the quaffle. Boston needs a goal here.
Yeah, they got bludger control, which is also very important, but can they get a goal? Nardone stepping high on Greenhouse, flings it all the way across to Bertram. Bertram recovers.
And Cody Nardone is going to regain bludger control for the Washington Admirals.
It will come at the cost of a goal, but honestly, at this point, the Admirals can afford to trade a goal for bludger control.
They can, and that's another really smart play from the Admirals beating core.
The bench knows it. They just need one, whatever it takes to get it. The quaffle players on the field are Sheridan, the young UMD player, Mulcahy, originally out of the Boston program, Trudeau and Bear, also from that Boston program. Trudeau is in the lane. There are no bludgers around. Trudeau tries to drive through. Trudeau hits the dunk. The Washington Admirals have taken a series off the Boston Forge. The Kings have been dethroned.
Oh, and they stormed the field, their fans. You can see how much this means to them. What a win for the Washington Admirals. Historic here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, one of those swarming players, Riley Stars, who's been out with an injury all season, one of the longest tenured members of the Admirals, a player they'd love to have on the field but just can't right now. You can see the joy in his face. What a huge victory for this program. We were talking about that 0-5 start, and they were off 3 straight wins, including 2 against the Boston Forge.
Yeah, it's just incredible to see the turnaround from this Washington Admirals team over the course of the season. We knew what they could do from what they showed against the New York Titans, from what they showed in the first 2 games yesterday. But now they are putting it all together, and could they be the most dangerous team in Major League Quidditch right now as we head towards a championships for which they will be the home team?
Yeah. You know, as far as this beater core can take them is as far as this team's going to go, because their quaffle core is second to none. And what we're seeing game in and game out is more and more improvements from Nardone, from Smith. But in this game, Burgess and Hicks making the big step up, because I think at times it was Nardone and Smith were having a little bit more of a struggle, and it was Burgess and Hicks who always seemed to have the answer coming in off the bench.
Yeah, they've been able to rely on both of those top 2 beating cores, and they've been able to bring some people off the bench, and Brendan Hutton, Zach Gregorian, to make some impact plays too, and spell some minutes for the top 2 lines. So really like what I've seen from the Washington Admirals here.
Yeah, so we're going to get an interview because nobody wants to hear from us. They want to hear from an Admirals player, so that's for sure. So we'll cut the stream for a second. We thank you guys all for tuning in. Washington Admirals have defeated the Boston Forge 2-1, the first ever regular season series loss for the Forge. We'll be right back with an interview.
We are back at the fields at RFK Stadium. Jack McGovern here with Julia Bear, chaser and head coach or assistant coach for the Washington Admirals. Julia, congratulations! You guys just got your a series victory over the Boston Forge, the first team to beat the Forge in a series in the regular season.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
There are no words. Seriously, there are no words. And it's especially impactful for someone for people like Tyler and I as head coach and assistant coach, because this was our franchise for years and years.
Yeah.
We won the first championship ever of MLQ with them in 2015 and kept it rolling. And when we came to the Admirals in 2019, we didn't really know anything about the program. We weren't coaches. We were kind of uncomfortable in the new system. We were just trying to get our feet underneath us.
Yeah.
And then to come out this season as coaches and just change the face of the program and get that first series win in history against Boston in the regular season, there's just no words. It's really special.
It's amazing. And can you talk for a little bit about what your beaters have done, especially those top two lines, Cody Darnone and Melissa Smith, and Katrina Hicks and Bernie Burgess? They were huge in this last game.
Yeah. I cannot say enough good things about those two lines, especially because two of the four people in that four group were not intending to be beaters at all this season, and that would be Cody and Bernie. But they have just come out with such confidence, such know-how. They're the ones that watch film all day long. Bernie got stats on every beater play from every play of the series against New York. They're just really, really smart players, and I think because of that, they were able to take advantage of some of the gaps in the Boston beater core, and they just came out with such confidence in these last two Boston games and took it home for us.
Great. Thank you so much, Julia Bear. Enjoy the win, and we look forward to seeing you guys against the Charlotte Aviators.
Thanks, Jack.
And we are back with the second to last game of our East Super Series here, featuring the Boston Forge and the Charlotte Aviators. Obviously, a huge moment in MLQ history just happened in front of our eyes with the Washington Admirals handing the Forge the first ever series loss. We've seen Forge come out after the first Washington loss and really put on a show against Charlotte. I assume they're going to try to come in with the same attitude, but this Charlotte team, nothing to be trifled with. Obviously, they are ones who scored one off of Washington earlier in the weekend. They're going to look to win that series in a moment. They are down 2-0 to the Forge, and really it's been the difference of the beating and really Max Havlin's bringing a lot of fast breaks in both games.
Yeah, I think we expected this to be the most evenly matched beater game of the weekend with the deep core of the Charlotte Aviators, but the Boston beating core has really handled them pretty well and helped their chasers get out to big leads in both games against the Charlotte Aviators. The Aviators have had no answer.
Yeah, and also more bad news from the Aviators this morning. Ryan Davis is going to be sitting out the day, just nursing an old leg injury that got activated. We saw them a little bit slow in the upkeep, a little bit hobbled in their jogging, so they'll be taking the rest of the series off. But obviously plenty of quaffle talent, and the addition of Devin Classic gives them a little bit of extra depth in the Seeker game, which they'll need as well.
Yeah, Classic's been great. He's really brought another level of physicality that's inspired the rest of the team, too, to make some big hits. Trey Presley has made some big hits. You always get hits from Logan Hartman and Quincy Hildreth. I want to see more of that from the Charlotte Aviators to try to make some of the Boston Chasers uncomfortable like the Admirals have.
Yeah, it's the Admiral zone that's been so effective. I haven't liked the zone that Charlotte showed as much this season. It could be partly connected to that lesser physicality that they've been bringing. But let's get starting lineups on the field. We're going to actually get some big change-ups here on the Boston side. Fenning will get the start again, but it's going to be what we've seen as the second line for most of the season. Skurr, Greenhouse, and Bertram getting the start. Doyle's going to do the run-up this time on Brooms Up because Skurr can't, and Dolan will be accompanying him. On the Charlotte side, Goldberg and Bonadillo are the beaters. Madison, Burns, Devin Classic, Trey Presley, and Lee Hodge, the starting quaffle players.
Sorry about that.
You're good. I think it's going to be Greenhouse and Presley running Brooms Up. Presley has picked up one yellow card on Brooms Up already this series. I don't expect to see another slide out of them. Chris Lecomte, head reffing his first game of the series, joined us today after missing out on yesterday's events. We can't complain too much. He is traveling to Cleveland next week to ref that series, so we appreciate the effort he's putting in. About ready to get started here. Presley versus Greenhouse off the Brooms Up. Presley does get there first, slips it back to Hodge, and bludger control goes to Charlotte as well, so they win just about everything off of the Brooms Up. 2-0 in favor of Boston this series so far. Charlotte currently 3-4. Boston currently 6-2. Fenning gets beat out by Goldberg, and the ball swings to Presley. Burns is sitting on the far side.
And Boston was not able to get Zach Doyle out of the game at beater, so he's going to be the one with the bludger standing back
but
now.
A big play here by Dolan, though. It does get recovered on a beat. Doyle definitely doesn't look comfortable there. I will agree with you there. He eventually puts his bludger on the ground. It's going to be no bludgers here. Dolan throws back. Presley in the lane against nothing. Oh, but it skims off the edge of the rim. It's recovered by Skurr. So a missed opportunity there from Charlotte. They're not going to get many better ones than that.
No, yeah. with a beater out of position playing, Charlotte missed a chance there.
Doyle toyed with the idea of staying on the field possession, but the bench is having none of that. So Havlin and Arjona are going to be making the sub in. Luzu, of course, out for the day after picking up an injury yesterday. Greenhouse has the ball on the wing, looking to attack on Presley. Bonadillo finally steps to him as he goes to Skurra. Hodge and Skurra step out. Greenhouse over to Bertram. Bertram has space in the lane and rips the mid-range shot. Bertram is on the board, and the Forge are on the board. They lead 10-0.
That's a great play from Morgan Bertram, just taking her space, firing the shot through the hoop on the near side. I also love what Harry Greenhouse was doing on the wing to draw the Charlotte defense in, and the beat that came from Max Havlin to blow up the Charlotte defense. Great team play by the Boston Forge.
LeBove comes in for Bonadillo here. They'll be joining Goldberg in the beating game. against Haviland and Arjona. As we said, this beater pair has been dominant against the Charlotte team so far this series, kind of been difference making. We'll see if they can keep it up here. Presley over to Classic, both from the App State program. Greenhouse is beat out. Haviland sitting deep, willing to absorb the beat here from Goldberg. Hodge now has the ball. Greenhouse beat out again. Arjona's going to win in exchange though with Goldberg. Haviland's just going to throw one away, keeps bludger control. Now they're going to get to press. Forces the reset use. Another nice play there from Arjona and Haviland.
And Charlotte is not really taking advantage of the marked defense that Boston is playing. They're not cycling the ball over to their unmarked player. They're not attacking quickly enough when their beaters take out a point defender. Facing this marked defense, they have to act quicker.
Yeah, I think we're a little spoiled from the way that Washington plays the game, to be honest. Hodge has the ball. Goldberg tries to beat on Haviland to no avail. No rush here, though. Lebov is going to keep protecting his player. Now Lebov and Haviland are considering an exchange. Oh, Haviland wins it hard. They don't have a reset to use anymore. And that one is going to go out of bounds. So the beaters successfully force a reset and then a turnover.
What a creative play by Max Haviland to fake the beat, throw it up in the air to himself before forcing the ball out of
Boston looking to break. Fenning's open on the far side if he can be seen. Skura has the ball. He's going to need to drive the lane and find Fenning here. Instead takes a mid-range shot, which is no good. Bertram resets it to Greenhouse. Greenhouse loses his broom and the ball. Skura gets beat off. It's another defensive stop. You know, this is the one thing that I think's plagued Boston so much. If I'm sitting here in the commentary box and I see the drive and dish from a mile away, why isn't Boston seeing it?
Yeah, the drive and dishes are available. And so you're right. They're not taking their opportunities.
Bertram asking for a sub here, marking Classic on the side. Hodges bring up the ball. It's been consistent bludger control here out of Haviland and Arjona. Haviland taking the space as high as he can in the zone. Eventually is going to drop back, seeing that Sulin Richard was trying to make a play on Arjona. A big jump dodge there by Lebov is going to get them bludger control. Quincy Hildreth looking to drive. He eats a beat from Haviland, throws over the head of Burns. It's going to be a race to the ball. It's going to go out of play. It's going to be Boston ball. Haviland wants them to run. There's a pile up with the other two bludgers. The ball gets loose, but I think Skura is still going to try to run here. Classic is the one man to beat. He gets around him with a stutter step, but he does get wrapped up and eats a couple of beats. And again, the Boston defense can't deliver, and Skura's down hard after that beat to the head.
Yeah, Haviland wanted them to go. Skura just didn't act quickly enough to get the ball, and a huge tackle by Classic there to make life difficult for him.
Cody Lebov also makes a big play for bludger control on the far side, wrapping up Haviland. They both go down, and his longtime beater partner, Celine Richard, is able to clean it up. Both from the LSU program of long ago. Smeckrud subs into the game, has the ball on the left wing.
Yeah, I like the Charlotte Aviators going to this chaser line a little bit earlier. Quincy Hildreth, Logan Hartman, Aaron Smeckrud in the game.
Yeah, definitely their scoring line,
yes.
To steal out a hockey term. Smeckrud's played very comfortable with the ball in her hands there. She didn't choose to take the space as much as there, but she is going to cut here. Quincy is looking to drive through the team. Flips it over Smeckrud. Great control there, but a huge tackle out of Dastu.
Wow.
And now it's going the other way. Fenning has no bludgers in front of him. He outruns Hauerwas. He flings it across. Oh, but Quincy Hildreth comes down with it.
And the Charlotte Aviators' quaffle defense was up to the task there. Not only was Hildreth intercepting the pass, but Hartman was back too.
Yeah, and then a frustration wrap there out of Ian Skura on the opposing keeper is going to pick up a card.
Yeah, and Harry Greenhouse will take the green headband as Skura heads to the box.
1-0 here, the score. Still in favor of Boston, but it's those offensive woes that continue to plague them and is keeping Charlotte in this game.
Yeah, there have been scoring opportunities. Max Haviland's playing as good as ever alongside Adi Arjona, but the goals have not been coming for the Forge.
Arjona throws one in the general direction of Quincy Hildreth, knowing that they have control of the bludgers. We're going to get a conversation here. I thought that looked like a quote-unquote beat attempt on Quincy Hildreth, which would not make it guarding the third bludger, but we're going to see what the beaters decide.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Ref still in discussion here. Still a 10-0 game. Perry Wang has subbed in aside alongside Celine Richard. He's got a bludger all the way back behind the hoops. Skura is getting some attention from the medic. I think it's probably just for a bloody nose, though. Maybe a bloody lip. Skura serving 1 minute penalty here. Probably served about 10 seconds of it already. Long discussion here from the refs. Mario Nasta and Max Havlin, 2 veteran beaters, both on the edges of this ref call. They know they want to. So the refs agreed with us. In the end, Arjona's beat was allowed, and it's just going to say bludger control with Boston. Hildreth running the power play in the quaffle game with the ball in hand, about to cross midfield. Doesn't have beater support yet, so he wants to do it slowly, though Perry Wang is making his way up.
It's interesting. Max Havlin is shading over towards Logan Hartman. He's been the most dangerous player for the Aviators off ball the whole season. Yeah. So I like that decision by Havlin.
And the second that Grace Dastia slips off of Hartman, Harry Greenhouse goes on him. I think the scouting report is very clear on how this team scores. But there he is! They lose him for 1 second, and immediately he delivers. The man with the best control around the hoops in the game scores. The penalty is killed. Skura is going to need to get back on the field. Or sub out, sorry. Skura was being maintained for an injury, so Costa is going to come in. Fenning's going to put on the old green headband from his days in Cal.
Logan Hartman had 2 chasers and 1 beater on him, and still somehow he got free. You're right, he's the best in the game around the hoops.
Oh, and that looked like a swat with the ball still in Max Havlin's hand, but there's going to be no call. Yeah. Both benches seem to know it, but the refs didn't get that one. So it's going to be Costa with the ball. Scores 1-1 here. Nasta subbing into the game for the first time for Havlin. Pressure there from Wang on Dolan. He misses the beat, but makes the big tackle. And meanwhile, it's a bobbled ball. Again, another wasted offensive possession on the Boston side.
Yeah, that's a big play by Perry Wang to get the bludger from Ashley Dolan.
Yeah. And, ultimately, there aren't very high stakes in this game in terms of divisional placing for Boston. Either way, they're going to need to go to New York and sweep New York if they want to win the division. 1 win from New York will mean the divisional title. But still, there's a lot of pride in this Boston team, and they do not want to pick up a 3rd loss in this Super Series by any means.
Oh, yeah. They're going to want to not head home after losing 3 in a row.
Great beat there from Nasta for the easy turnover. Really loving watching the battle between Hartman and Dastia around the hoops, though. Bonadio slips, but he's going to be able to do enough to force a pass back. Hauerwas gets beat out. Dastu is trying to get by Smikrud. Just swings it back to Costa. Dastu looked to cut to the hoop, but just goes unseen by Archibald. Much to the chagrin of our producer, Nick Jablonski. Dastu has the ball up top. Across to Costa. Costa rips one through the hoop there.
And that's one way to score a goal from the Boston Forge.
Yeah. Obviously, Boston's nothing new to these shots. Just think of the Jake Archibald long-distance shot that was hit in the finals of the 2019 MLQ Championships. It's not obviously what you want your offense to rely on, but it's not a bad thing to have in your back pocket when you need a lead-taking goal, which is exactly what they needed there.
Yeah, but we've seen how risky it can be.
Yeah. Diana Howard in the first game, into the game for the first time. She had a very good Saturday for the Aviators. Presley's back in the game as well. Jess Daly and Lee Hodge. Oh, there's a ton of space here for Presley. Oh, but Diana Howard was not looking, and also I think Presley put that pretty far behind her.
Yeah, they just weren't able to connect there.
Boston looking to run the other way here, looking to get some momentum. Beckman's going to set a screen on Presley. I think Chris Lecombe is considering going to his whistle. No, he won't for a shove. Now Amidal's considering a call. We're going to see if that screen call will get called. It's a call, not to age myself or to tap myself on the back, that I also made on Becky in the 2018 MLQ Championships for this exact screen where he puts a little bit too much momentum into his screen. But it looks like the refs are going to talk it over.
Yeah, I like Boston throwing a few more screens into their offense, if they can set them correctly. But they just need to find some open players when they have them. We saw a few possessions ago, Grace Dastu cutting to the hoops unmarked, and she was not found.
So they choose not to make the call. But, yeah, like you're saying, there's just a lack of crispness, which has been a hallmark of the way they've run this offense for so long.
Yeah.
Because, their beaters are still winning battles. They're still getting much control. Dolan and Nasta are very comfortable here.
Yeah.
Handoff over to Costa. Archibald on the wing. And Beckman can't handle the pass from Archibald. He will recover the ball. Gets right by Daly. Now he's in the lane. Beckman looking to work. Gets by Presley. Scoots it through. 30-10 Boston.
And that's a big play from Tyler Beckman to kind of turn a possession that could have gone Ari with him missing the catch into a goal for Boston.
Hodge gets the pass. They're going to spread things out. Costa making a wrap on Hodge. They're going to get Costa on contact from behind. So another power play here for Charlotte. They were able to get their first goal off of the first one. Because of the way it really allows Logan Hartman to work in the lane when you're down a Koffel player. They don't have that advantage on the field. Hartman getting a breather on the sideline right now, so we'll see how they work this power play. They are against bludger control. Hodge bringing it up down the middle. Massa misses a beat on Bonadillo. It's going to be bludger control for Bonadillo and Hamill, who's recently subbed in the game as well. Presley has the ball. Dolan's all alone in the lane. But Archibald picks it down. He's going to have to slow down because of the power play and the bludger control, but a nice defensive effort there from Archibald.
Yeah, that's a great play from Tony Bonadillo to take out the point chaser and then draw the beat from Nasta to create an opportunity for his offense. They just weren't able to convert with Archibald lurking in the keeper zone.
Howard out of the game for Classic here. Dastu has it on the wing. Bludger control is with Charlotte, and Dolan is looking to keep Hamill out of the play as Bonadillo sits deeper. Overload here from Boston. All their Koffel players localized into that area of the zone.
Yeah, Boston just trying to kill time here. They have no one near the hoops.
High press here. The reset's used, but the power play is killed, so I think Boston will take that trade. Also nursing a 30-10 lead.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really smart play from the Boston Forge. That's the experience that we're used to seeing.
11 minutes into the game here, 30-10 Boston. Costa running the overload here. It's Beckman that's the loose player. Grace Dastu also was reading off of that, but can't get the ball. Archibald has it, trying to get it by Presley, flings it back across his body, can't get that one to fall. Classic shot there from Archibald. Dastu's, though, there to recover. They don't have a reset, remember. She's in the lane, and she can't hit the mid-range shot either. Classic knocking her down.
Yeah, I wonder if there's just too much shooting from the Boston Forge. First Archibald with kind of the backhand shot, which I know he can make, and same for Grace Dastu on the mid lane, on the drive through the middle. But I just wonder if they should be looking to pass more in those situations.
I mean, I think it's a weekend of just being swallowed up by huge hits that really starts to wear on you. By the sixth game, 3 games ago against Washington, and I mean, some of the hits that this Charlotte team lays aren't bad as well. A week ago, they were taking a bunch of hits from a Rochester team that we know that they make their entire identity about their physicality. So, sometimes maybe you get a little bit more cautious and throw a couple more shots.
Yeah.
Hodge with the ball. Bonadillo protecting him. Nasta makes a big beat, which will allow Boston to press, and they won't even have to. Lee Hodge is just going to use his reset. Bludger control with them. Celine Richard now in the game, came in for Hamill. Will be playing alongside Nadia. Still 30-10 as we go deep into the Seeker floor minutes. Classic's coming around the back. Well, interesting to see if Classic gets out of the game soon. I assume he'll be their starting Seeker with Ryan Davis out. But first, he has some work to do. Catches a beautiful feed, but can't get it by Archibald. Archibald's been big on the defense and big on the outlet pass here. He finds Costa just like that. It's a 30-point lead for Boston.
Oh, and that's more like it from the Boston Forge. What happened there, I think, was Tony Bonadio tried to regain the third bludger. Mario Nasta threw one away and picked up the third bludger on the ground, which meant that no Charlotte Aviators beaters were back on the play, and Archibald could find Costa for the long-range goal.
Hartman back on the field here for Charlotte, and joining him in the field is Shane Flanagan from the UNC program. I believe the first time we're seeing him all season on the field.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Flanagan's the one taking up the Logan Hartman role, and Hartman tries to air one. You know, he knows where the hoops are when he's close to them, but a little less so when he's a good 20 feet away from them.
Yeah, the hoop was there, the shot was there,
yeah.
But was not able to convert.
No. And, you know, obviously there have to be some calculations made by Charlotte here. They're down one of their key players in Davis. They know that they can beat this Washington team. They've already done it once this weekend. But at the same time, they're not out of this game. It's a 40-10 game. So how do you manage your minutes? And they've chosen to go a little bit in their keeper depth and see if that'll keep them in this game while also allowing them to be ready to compete in the next one. Costa in the lane, working on Hartman. Stutter step across to Mayer. Mayer fields it clean, even though it was a low pass, but can't find another player as the beat comes. I think the beaters of Charlotte literally got rid of every single Boston Quaffle player there.
Yep. Yeah, great performance from them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the speed of Richard in action, right?
Yes.
Montero looked for bludger control. Instead, just eats a big beat. It's a no bludger situation. Madison Burns lurking on Mayer, but Mayer gets a two-arm wrap. Goldberg, though, doing his best Kari Nodaro impression, gets the beat off. Burns gets wrapped again, and Archibald's going the other way. Goldberg, though, finds him with a beat. It's going to be loose. It's going to be recovered by Collier, which means bludger control for Boston. So Charlotte's going to have to use their reset and lose bludger control. It's a tough situation for them. Hauerwas has the ball, looking for Flanagan. Flanagan goes up with a slap, but it's not to be. The ball falls into the hands of Costa.
There was a couple huge defensive plays there, beginning with Athena Mayer's tackle on Madison Burns in a no bludger situation. She just wrapped Madison Burns up and prevented the most dangerous opportunity for Charlotte.
Collier and Montero now have bludger control. They're looking to work. They beat off Hartman, who is guarding Costa, to allow Costa to get into the lane. Archibald is in the lane here. He's looking to take on Flanagan. He flips it, I think, over to McGargan, who scores. I was a little blocked off, but either way, it's now 50-10 Boston.
Yep. And Montero and Collier were camped out deep in the Charlotte defense there to create the opening for Archibald.
Refs are going to talk it over. Either way, big momentum shift, a couple of big offensive possessions from Boston in transition, and kind of the struggles offensively from Charlotte taking their toll as Boston is slowly starting to finally eke out a bit of an advantage in this game at 50-10. Yeah,
I'd like to see Charlotte get a few more players in the game who are comfortable handling the ball. Someone like Quincy Hildreth, someone like Lee Hodge or Trey Presley. This is where they're really missing a player like Ryan Davis right now as they look to try to connect with Logan Hartman, who is on the pitch. So Charlotte's going to get an unfortunate illegal procedure penalty for messing up the timeout policy. The keeper has to be the one in possession of the ball. I think at the time, Hauerwas actually had the ball. So we'll see if Charlotte still decides to use their timeout. All right, so we're not going to get a timeout here. We're just going to get the foul against Charlotte, so they're going to be playing down a player, though they do keep possession of the quaffle. Hartman and Quincy, kind of that scoring core from the Aviators, and also the result of their only goal of this game, a pass from Quincy to Hartman. Montero looks to press high. Celine Richard, though, comes around her back. It's going to take bludger control off of it. Oh, a great dodge by Hartman, but he's wrapped by Costa. He does eventually come down. Celine Richard, oh, he gets the ball out. Hildreth and Finn McGargan are fighting for it, and McGargan wins the race. Yeah, and I think Charlotte Aviators coach Ryan Davis wanted his team to try to kill that penalty, but Hartman I don't think was hearing him and was going, and Burns and Hildreth weren't in great position to kill the penalty either on the offensive possession.
Yeah, the problem is his beaters did a beautiful job of creating no bludger situation. They did lose bludger control at the end there on a nice effort play from Kieran Collier. Penalty has been killed, though, without any damage. Archibald looking to get in the lane, gets wrapped by Quincy Hildreth and just flips one right over to Logan Hartman. I think we might be getting a card here, though. We'll wait for the call. 50-10 now the score. We'll get a time check for you as well. Just past 17 minutes here in this game. So a big penalty against a Boston beater here. Serena Montero is going to be picking up the blue card for propelling a ball off pitch. I assume she threw back and threw a little bit too far, or maybe threw sideways. I didn't see the play in action. So a big advantage here now for Charlotte. They're up a beater. Perry Wang coming into the game. This time Charlotte successfully calls a timeout. And we're going to be giving them a minute here to regroup themselves. 3 minutes before switch on pitch. They're very much not out of this game. If they can get a catch, things are going to get close in a hurry.
Yeah, I like this timeout call from Charlotte, and I'm excited to see what they come up with out of the break. This is a really key spot for them to try to get a goal because they're going to trust their seeking game. Their seeking game has been pretty good, and their beaters can hang with Boston. So, you know, this is a chance for them to put themselves in a position to win.
Yeah, and here's what'll be interesting to see. John Smutney is going to be the snitch, and what we saw in the first game that Boston had Smutney is that Greenhouse was really not getting anywhere near Smutney.
Right.
Maybe give Beckman the first run. We'll see if they switch everything up or if they will give Greenhouse that first shot again. We saw them switching up their first quaffle line and going to their second line, so maybe we'll see some switch up here as well. Meanwhile, on the Charlotte side, obviously very much in this game, they need to find a way to get control and ideally a goal. Sorry, they have control off of the foul. They need to keep it and get a goal. Any play they draw up, I'm sure is going to have Logan Hartman's name all over it because there's only going to be the one beater. Just clear them out of the zone, let Hartman work around the hoops. Hildreth obviously on the field as well to feed him. If they can be getting the 20-minute mark, 30 or so points down, obviously they're very much in a position to win this game.
Yeah, what I'm looking for is who the Charlotte Aviators put in the game to try to pass to Hartman in these last few minutes. They need someone feeding him the ball, someone like Hildreth, Presley, Hodge. They need to get Hartman off ball into the positions that he is most effective in.
Yep. Teams are about to break their timeouts. We're going to send it back to the pitch. By the way, we talked a lot about Classic, but it's actually Presley who is wearing the yellow headband first of all. So we'll see if he actually gets the Seeker start. Obviously, Presley has a catch already to his name,
yes,
to their name this season. Hasn't played as much Seeker today though. Obviously, Ryan Davis has been lights out all year, so they haven't always needed a Seeker sub.
Right.
So it is going to be Hartman, Hildreth, Madison Burns, and Joe Hauerwas. Montero, as a reminder, serving a penalty for a throw-off pitch. Wang and Richard, the two with bludger control. Let's see what play Charlotte has drawn up in their huddle. Facing mark defense from Boston.
And Perry Wang creates an opening.
Oh, instantly no bludgers. And who needs a play when Quincy Hildreth can just drive right through that offense and defense and score?
Oh, but that was Perry Wang, too, going right at Kieran Collier. But now the ref is going to call him for a beat.
Perry Wang begging for a call here. Now looking down in shame because the ref was giving him a talking to. But either way, unless there's a call, it does look like Boston has walked away with bludger control. Big goal there by Charlotte, though. Makes it 50-20. They could now be even on a snitch grab.
Yeah, honestly, that goal was so important for them. It was almost worth losing bludger control to try to, create some momentum for the Aviators as they head towards snitch on pitch.
Tom DeMuth coming onto the field. We have not seen a ton of DeMuth. DeMuth and Arjona kind of hypothetically coming into the series when we talked to Greg Bento was the fourth beating line. Obviously, some things have shook that up. Arjona's got a lot of minutes. DeMuth less so. Excited to see them come out on the pitch here for a few minutes, though. Bertram working on Burns. Richard and Wang, an experienced veteran group against them. Ball goes over to McGargan. DeMuth protected him. Perry Wang sitting deep in his defensive zone. Tries to make an aggressive beat on Morgan Bertram. It's going to be no bludgers. Ian Skura has the ball, gets no bludgers. He's in the lane. Fires wide.
And I think Skura wants the call that the shot was off a defender, but it's not going to be called. Hildreth is going to get the ball.
Oh, got it. Looking for the deflection on the shot. I thought they were asking for a goal. We knew it didn't go through the hoop. I see.
Right.
The question was whether it. So we get unsportsmanlike conduct on both sides, speaking to the refs. Finn McGargan is going to serve Teddy Costa's penalty, and Logan Hartman will be serving his own penalty since he was on pitch. Ultimately, that's the ball is going to go to Bertram. Bertram's holding the ball. I'm not sure if they reverse the call based on. Either way, I feel like somebody should be inbounding it from behind the hoops. So Bertram's ball. She will reset to Greenhouse. That won't be a reset used because she reset immediately upon possession. Arjona beating out Burns. Morgan Bertram in the lane here. Swings over to Greenhouse. Greenhouse does not get beat. Gets it back to Skura. Skura gets another shot to make up for his shot last time. This time he puts it through. 60-20.
And there's the mid-range shot from Ian Skura. I want to see more of that from the Boston Forge. I'm sure they do too.
Yep. Yeah. Beaters clearing out the lane for him and him making his shot count finally. 40-point advantage here for the Forge. We're approaching the 20-minute mark. DiCaprio and Bonadio, the new beating line here for Charlotte.
Logan Hartman out of the box.
Yep. McGargan still serving a penalty. Hartman only came out because of the goal. Hartman gets the ball way behind the hoops, working on Skura. Tries a shot mid-range, doesn't get it to fall. Again, not really his game. It will be a reset, even though it was a shot. Lee Hodge will have the ball. We are only 20 seconds away from the 20-minute mark now.
And now Finn McGargan is going to mark Hartman.
Greenhouse is beat out of the play. Nobody's stepping up yet, so Hodge has a lot of space. DeMuth eats a beat. A long shot there. Oh, Quincy is able to get up and get the rebound and slips right by Bertram. Now working on Greenhouse. Greenhouse, though, gets off. It's Hartman who gets the ball, just not in a position to score there. Bertram falls on it when all is said and done. We're going to find out if that was before or after the 20-minute mark. Greenhouse is down, which I think this is also going to answer our question of who the starting seeker is going to be for Boston because Greenhouse was not off the pitch at the 20-minute mark. Greenhouse clutching his shoulder. This is not the one he's had 3 surgeries on in the last 6 months, but I believe he did injure this one as well last week.
Yeah, that's a strong gang tackle from Greenhouse and Bertram on Hildreth, who made an absolutely outstanding play to recover the missed shot from Lee Hodge and juke past a defender. But Hartman was not able to find the hoops.
All right, so that brings us to the 20-minute mark. A 40-point lead for Boston, but Charlotte very much in striking distance here. What are you hoping to see from these two teams as we go to the snitch on pitch situations?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's snitch on pitch in the Quaffle game is an exciting prospect because they got some players who can really run at a defense, break some tackles, but most eyes, I think, will be focused on the snitch, depending on what the team's strategies are here. And I think the big battle will be about who can establish that bubble around the snitch.
Here's what I'd really like to see from Boston
Yeah.
by the time of championships, right? So, like a lot of hockey teams will have situational lines. I would love to see Boston have a line that is specifically built for stitch on pitch, no bludger play. A bunch of big players, your Fennings, maybe your Skuras, who are going to set screens for each other, because there should be no answers for these screens, but a lot of these screens are a little soft and people are slipping through, or players aren't willing to take it all the way to the hoops off of the screens. And that's what I want to see from this team going forward. Also going to be interesting to see what happens in the beater game. Arjona and DeMuth still in the game. Are we going to see that quick sub for Mario Nasta and Ashley Dolan, who've done most of the stitch-on-pitch beating work for Boston? Or are they going to let the young players cook for a bit?
Yeah, I would expect that substitution with Nasta and Dolan. They've gone to that pretty reliably. And I completely agree to you about Boston needing a line for specifically for snitch on pitch. It's something that New York has,
Right.
and something that's been successful for them with players like JC Arancibia, David Fox. So I think they're going to need that, not even by championships. They're going to need that by
New
their
York.
series in New York
I agree.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the way MLQ endgame works, there are so many situational strategic adjustments to be made, and we've seen some teams really make the most of them. I obviously want to shout out League City for that. They had the comeback against New Orleans where they just didn't even try to catch a snitch, and they got a win off of San Antonio, a big upset win yesterday by basically doing the same thing. They were, to their credit, leading at the 20-minute mark in that one. But, yeah, I mean, you have to think about things situationally come the end game of MLQ. And the teams who are doing that the best are prospering.
Right.
Trey Presley is going to get the start in the Seeker game here for Charlotte. We've yet to have a yellow headband player head over to a broom yet for Boston. So we'll let you know when that happens. John Smutney, as we mentioned before, is a starting snitch. Does have a snitch win already this specific series. It was the Boston-Charlotte game that he got that win.
Yeah, I wonder if either team, knowing how strong Smutney is as a snitch, will be willing to pull the beaters off at any point, or be more willing, especially for Boston with Greenhouse potentially leaving the game with a knock. Unclear whether he'll be able to come into the Seeker game, and it looks like it's Greg Bento.
Head coach Greg Bento grabbing the broom first.
Who will start as the Seeker, yeah.
Yep. All right, so we've got Presley versus Bento in the Seeker game. Remains to be seen who the beaters will be at that point. Finn McGargan is definitely prepping a chaser sub, of dead sprint chaser sub. And it's going to be Fenning Skura. Hey, it's exactly what we asked for. Good to see. And Havlin, Arjona are going to be the starting beaters, so they won't be Nasta and Dolan this time around. I know these two have worked a lot on stitch on pitch being together, specifically at Harvard practices of all things, where Havlin coaches and Arjona played her senior year a couple years back. DiCaprio and Bonadillo, the beaters for Charlotte in this scenario. And it's going to be what can Skura and Fenning do together here. Trying to run a pick and roll game. Skura a little passive on those pick and rolls. Oh, and they basically lose the ball. This time it's a double team on Skura. He can't find Fenning again. Bertram now has the ball. Doyle, the remaining Quaffle player, on the line. Solid bubble set up, giving Greg Bento plenty of time to work. Sputney is a snitch who does not like to let himself get square with the opposing. And a big beat there on Havlin right before the stoppage.
Yeah, it looks like there's just a problem with the knit shorts. Sputney is gonna change into a better pair of shorts here.
The unfortunate part for Bonadillo on that nice snipe beat of Havlin is that because the stoppage happened, Arjona was able to get her wits about her, and she's going to have an easy play for bludger control off of it.
Yeah.
Lebov has subbed in for DiCaprio in the last couple seconds. And we're about to get started again here after a quick wardrobe malfunction. 60-20 is the score. Arjona makes the beat on Cody Lebov instead of the safe throw back, so she's going to get complete control for her team. And Skura hits the mid-range shot, 70-20 now. Game is to 120. Greg Bento getting so much time here.
Yeah, Bento has all the time in the world. He's just been grappling, hasn't really gotten close yet.
Oh, and Max Havlin tries to force a turnover there on Hildreth, and unfortunately Fenning's going to fall down on top of Hildreth, and I think that's going to be a card.
Yeah, they're going to get Hildreth, I think, for playing after the beat.
No, it's Fenning landing on top of him at the end there. I don't believe anybody called Quincy beat. So Fenning picks up the card. Hildreth's now going to get a chance to score, though. Havlin's going to be right on his tail. It's going to force a pass to somebody. He does have Hartman as an option. Lee Hodge looks like he just tagged back in from hoops. and the pass is going to go all the way back to Hodge. Because it's an immediate control of possession, it's not necessarily a reset, though I believe Crystal Comp has called one. Haviland clears Presley out of the game. Smondy has plenty of space. Haviland's now trying to do double time and also make the beat on Hodge, which he will do. This is how Haviland likes to cook in the snitch on pitch game. Doyle now has the read, and there's the driving dish we've been waiting for all game, but Lee Hodge with a big tackle on Bertram.
Yeah, like what Zach Doyle did there, and Morgan Bertram tried to absorb the tackle. She just wasn't able to stay on her feet.
It's Doyle getting a tackle on Hildreth, but I think it's going to be another card, this one for probably, I assume, behind the back. So Boston's going to be playing with 2 Quaffle players at this point. Sorry, it was a tripping call.
And Charlotte's got a score here. They're down 20 points, I believe. Or sorry, 50 points, I believe.
Score is currently 70-20 with a set score of 120.
Yeah, Charlotte's got to begin to narrow that deficit right here.
Yeah, especially because they're not getting very many clean shots at the snitch.
No. Yeah, if I was Charlotte at this point, to be honest, I would take the beaters and put them on the Quaffle.
Well, I know that Max Haviland is planning a beat on Hildreth immediately. Yeah. We'll see if Hildreth is aware that beat is coming. I guess he was. Hodge is going to take it all the way. That's going to reset Fenning's power play, but Doyle remains in the box. 70-30 now the score. A big block there by Lebov. He's finally going to get his seeker some time to work, and a catch off the Arjona beat. Here it is, Presley's opportunity here against Smutney.
And Charlotte's patience in the beating game pays off as now they can establish the bubble, making me look bad right there. Charlotte establishing the bubble.
Haviland not too concerned about the seeking game, though. He's just going to run in and try to create an opportunity. But Cody's not concerned about it either. He clears it out. Quincy's going the other way. Just like that, it's going to be 70-40.
Oh, what a swing of momentum. And the Charlotte Aviators make those penalties count for Boston. They convert both. To narrow the score to 70-40.
We get a sub in. It's going to be Nasta and Montero coming in together. I don't think they've played together once all series.
No.
Beckman is also coming at Seeker for Boston. Bludgeon Control is with Bonadillo and Lebov. Fenning has the ball. It's 70-40 now. Turgan take on Hodge, but Goldberg's right there again. The Charlotte beaters are everywhere at the moment, but we are going to get a stoppage, and I think it's going to be a pretty decisive catch here for Tyler Beckman.
Yeah, that's a huge play by Tyler Beckman if this stands, because the momentum was shifting in the direction of the Charlotte Aviators. Goldberg, Cody Lebov were everywhere. They were switching effectively between the snitch and the Quaffle game to create opportunities for them to start to narrow that deficit, but they left just a little bit too much room for Tyler Beckman as the call is declared good, and Boston is back up 6 goals.
Yeah, Beckman is the definitive strongest seeker on this team against a very talented snitch.
Yeah.
Has done it again and again in big moments for them. 105-40, now the score. Boston only 2 goals away. Probably a decisive result there.
Yeah, no, that's huge from Beckman, coming up large.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part is really just, I just don't know if Charlotte has the offensive firepower to ever get the 8 goals they would now need.
Well, they might have had it with the beaters, with the Boston beaters distracted by the snitch. But now you're going to have Mario Nasta and Serena Montero focused exclusively on the Quaffle game, and so I think you might be right.
Goldberg eats a large face beat there from Nasta. Bludgeon Control is with Boston. Also got to ask on the Charlotte side at which point they do just kind of concede this game and start prepping for the Washington game that they have to play 15 minutes after this one.
Yeah.
Nasta's putting on a clinic right now, beating out Goldberg again, forces the reset.
Montero missed a beat on Logan Hartman off ball.
Hartman doing his best to beat out, but again, Nasta's putting on a clinic. Doyle's going the other way. Hamill will be back. He has a passing option. What's Hamill going to do? Eventually, he just resets to Fenning. I think it's going to be a half court. No, they're still going to run it. Doyle is there. Oh, a floater. Can't quite get to Doyle. It's going to be Hodge going down hard, but he made the defensive play to prevent the goal.
Yeah, that's a great play by Lee Hodge. Oh, and there's a knock.
Yep. Went down hard after it. I think landed on the hoop base, unfortunately. So Hodge will be a little slow to get up. 105-40 the score here. What do you think about this kind of recovery effort here from Boston after the difficult series lost to Washington?
Yeah, they've showed great resilience here, able to put some quaffle points on the board, find Skura in some moments earlier in the game, and then just when this game looked to be getting away from them, Tyler Beckman makes the catch, and as usual, it's been behind the effort of their beaters, who've put in another outstanding performance.
Yeah, so 105-40 the score here. Boston looking to lock up a 7-2 record to head into a decisive East Division matchup with New York in 2 weeks. That'll be the series of the week right here on MLQ's main Facebook page and the YouTube page. Next week, series of the week, a decisive one in the South with San Antonio traveling to Austin. Hildreth here looking to claw his way back a long hill to climb. 105-40. Fenning is beat out by Hamill. Oh, a misbeat there on Collier. Collier will get to press. Floater there from Hildreth looking for Howard. Howard skips it around a few times. He actually does get it to a teammate. It's Phillips. Phillips is looking to go all the way through Archibald. That's not going to happen in the two-arm tackling meta. They all go down, and Serena Montero cleans it up.
Yeah, that's a great play by Kieran Collier to dodge the bludger and then put the pressure on Hildreth. I'm not sure there were enough passing options available for Hildreth, although Howard made a great play to keep the ball alive.
It's Dastus that's going to go hard on the end of that play. So just kind of going around the league for the weekend, obviously in this series, we saw earlier this morning that Washington took the 2-1 series win over Boston. Right now the series is 2-0, and then the rubber match of Charlotte versus Washington will be proceeding 15 minutes after this. Up in the North Division, pair of 0-3 teams went to battle with likely the third seed in the division on the line, though Detroit still has a chance to earn that from Indy now after they swept the Cleveland Rift, with the last game coming down to a next goal win scenario and Detroit putting it away. Down in the South, our series of the week was featuring League City and San Antonio, two intrastate rivals, and it was San Antonio that pulled it out, but in a big performance in Game 2, League City was able to knot things up with a no snitch grab win. Gabe Garces was on the field as a snitch. You kind of expect some no snitch catch wins when he's around.
Yeah, and they game planned for it effectively and knew what they wanted to do, putting the beaters on the quaffle and making the comeback.
Yep.
Against a favored San Antonio team that will now have a lot to think about as they prepare for Austin.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten enough MLQ content on the weekend, we've got plenty of it on the weekdays as well. Again, thanks to the hard work of our producer, Nick Jablonski. Monday, MLQ replay at 8 p.m. We'll do a breakdown of all the games happening this week. On Wednesday, Quit in 5, which will take our series of the week and break it down to a 5-minute highlight reel. Nice and easy to watch. And then on Thursday, Set a Pick with Nick Jablonski and a guest. They will start talking about the series to come next week. Like we said, a big one in the South between San Antonio and Austin. But we're back in action here. Collier and DiCaprio split beats. Athena Mayer can't handle that one cleanly, and it falls into the hands of Diana Howard. As we talked about, I think Charlotte has gone deep into their depth here. No, they've got another game to play after this.
Yeah, these are definitely they're playing players. None of their starting players are on the field right now. They're just trying to stay rested for that Admirals rubber game.
Yep, Flanagan getting his second shift of the game. Phillips and Hauerwas in as well. Hauerwas getting into the lane, but floats one high over the head of Flanagan. Meanwhile, Boston has plenty of their veteran leadership in. I have to imagine they are very ready to get out of Washington, D.C., and they need 2 more goals to do it.
Yes, and they want to get out with a win.
Greg Bento comes in at chaser for the first time all weekend. Kind of see if maybe we get a couple more minutes from that fourth-line beating core at some point, Tom DeMuth, with the game very much in hand. Big tackle there by, I believe that was Mike Phillips. Teddy Costa trying to get the ball out. Obviously had that sweet goal from the bottom of a pile-up against Washington and gets the ball out to Archibald, who's in the lane. His floater is not to be. Bento, a pure effort play to get to that ball, trying to slip by Howard. Howard has a jersey grab. Bento, though, gets the reset. A good effort play there. Costa in the lane and misses the shot. You know, there's just something to be said about getting a quaffle player in there who's played 0 games of quaffle when everyone else is at 5.5 at this point.
Yeah, and you can see that he has more energy than others who have put in some really long shifts in 5 games over the course of the weekend.
Score remains 105-40 as we chase down that loose quaffle. Flanagan bringing it up. Collier and Montero, the defensive beaters, Chambers and Richard on offense. Chambers getting his second or third look of the weekend. A little bit of miscommunications on the defensive side from Boston. Eventually, Montero does try the wrap on Richard, which Kieran Collier is able to turn into, no, can't turn into budget control. Nice play by Chambers. Flipped, a beautiful flip by Flanagan as he was going down to Howard, and Howard continues a strong weekend with a goal. 105-50.
Yeah, and what Diana Howard did there was set a pick for Phillips, but then rolled off the pick and was unmarked behind the hoops, and Flanagan found her.
We love a good off-ball pick in the MLQ booth, that is for sure. Costa now has the ball on the wing. Mayer and Bento is passing options, and now Archibald spreads himself out as well. Costa in the lane finds Archibald. Archibald flings one up to, I don't think anybody in particular, but Mayer is going to get there first. No, Mike Phillips is going to get there first. No, Mike Phillips is going to get a sliding penalty. So Phillips picks up the foul. Mayer is going to be reset with the ball. She is surrounded by quaffle players, but does have Bento as an immediate option and a pretty wide open Archibald across the field if she can get her arm free enough. Probably going to take a jump pass to get the ball over Flanagan. She floats it, and Archibald, oh, big play by Howard. Oh, but Archibald's able to keep his arms free enough to score.
Oh, I love Jake Archibald sticking with that, fighting through the tackle of Joel Hawass.
Oh. A bludger catches him right in the feet, and he just goes down hard. But I think he'll shake that one off with the goal that puts Boston 1 goal away from the victory.
If you can hear the Boston bench, they're going to try to get this last goal beginning with their defensive effort on this possession.
Hawass passes off to Flanagan. Chambers beating out Costa. Daly has the ball on the wing. Daly slips through, looking for a Classic behind the hoops, but it's not to be. Mayer with some tight defense to make it difficult on him. Classic does wrap up Mayer now. I assume this isn't a contact foul. It has to be something else because Classic just went in for a quick little steal attempt there on Mayer. All right, no call on the play. Next goal win scenario here for Boston. Charlotte would need 7 more first to make the comeback. Stutter step from Costa, goes by Hauerwas, goes by Classic. He's in the lane now. Daly's trying to man out Archibald, which is going to leave Costa wide open, but Flanagan shuts him down man to man, and it's going to be, I think, an illegal slide here called on Costa.
Yeah, Costa was trying to stick with the play, but that led him right into the feet of Joe Hawass.
But again, where was the pass from the Boston offense?
Yeah. I mean, Bento and Archibald were running with him, as was Athena Mayer, and Costa wasn't able to find the passing outlets.
So illegal slide returns the favorite from the one Mike Phillips committed just 1 possession ago. Charlotte has possession. Still would need a lot of goals to bring this one back close. Boston just 1 goal away from getting out of here with a 7-2 record. Charlotte playing the last 2 games of the regular season with this one and the next one. Currently 3-7. Flanagan just gets picked off easily by Archibald. Read him like a book. He's going the other way. This is a no-budget situation. Gotta hope that Boston can finish it here. Plenty of passing options. The option is going to be head coach Greg Bento, and he gets them the victory.
And there it is from Jake Archibald, recognizing that the Bludgers were out of position, running at the Charlotte defense, and floating that pass to Greg Bento, turning around before the shot even went through the hoops because he knew it was good.
Yep, so that is going to wrap this one up. Boston completes the victory, 125-40, improved to 7-2 in the season. The scenario is simple. They will go up against New York in 2 weeks. They will need to sweep New York if they want to keep their streak of consecutive divisional titles up. New York needs to win 1 game to become crowned the East Division champions for the first ever time. Meanwhile, Charlotte still 1 more game to play today, 3-8 on the season. A win if I'm doing my math right, would punch them a ticket through to championships, a loss, and they would need some help from Washington next week as they take on Rochester. We'll be back here for the rubber game of that matchup, Washington versus Charlotte. We'll grab you guys an interview in just a couple minutes as well. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
We're back from the fields at RFK Stadium. Jack McGovern here with Addy Arjona, beater for the Boston Forge. Congratulations on the win, Addy. How does it feel coming away from the weekend on a positive note?
It feels great. I play so much faster here, so I didn't really expect it, but it's super fun to play in the summer. So.
Yeah, and you stepped into a larger role when, unfortunately, Lulu Shu went down with an injury in a warm-up yesterday. What was your mentality heading into that larger role?
I was very nervous and sad as to why I was going to be getting to play more, but I don't know, being able to play with my coach, so he was pretty familiar, so that was really helpful, and then also just like having practiced with the team, and like I was on practice squad last season, 2 years ago, so I don't know, it was really fun. I'm glad.
You put in an outstanding performance. You and Max Havlin set up that bubble in the snitch on pitch game. What were you thinking about in snitch on pitch?
Definitely just like giving my seekers time.
Yeah.
That was the main priority. Trying to keep beaters away if possible, and Max more of the quaffle game when he had a chance. So just keeping that area locked down so Max could go off.
For sure. Yeah. Addy Arjona, thanks for the interview and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Hello, welcome back to the conclusion of the second East Super Series, featuring the rubber match of a 3-game set between the Washington Admirals and the Charlotte Aviators. Aviators were flying high early in the weekend. They got that big win against Washington, but things have been grounded a bit since. Another tough loss to Boston. Boston completing the sweep against them in the last game. And the Admirals, who are coming off of that hype 2-1 victory, series victory against Boston, looking to extend their 3-game winning streak to a 4-game winning streak. At this point, the way Washington's playing, I think they would consider anything short of ending this on a 7-game winning streak with a series coming against Rochester as a disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. The Admirals will be looking to continue that momentum from the past few series where they have looked just dominant in the chaser game and made some really timely plays, cut out some of those turnovers that were plaguing them yesterday and in the New York series. They've put their chasers in good positions to score on the wing, players like TJ Jenneret and Brian Mulcahy. I like what they've done in the beater game with a player like Cody Nardone and Melissa Smith, really focused on coordinating with their Quaffle players and putting them in better positions. So I love what the Admirals have been able to do in turning around this series.
Yep, it looks like we're starting to get starting lines out there. But yeah, I mean, obviously in the second beater pair as well, Katrina Hicks and Bernie Burgess. Been great to see them.
Right.
Hicks showing up in a big way for her kid, who has showed up to the series as well. So, got to be a role model, and she's definitely showing that off. So Washington has made their way out onto the field. It's going to be Hutton actually getting the start alongside Hicks. It's been pretty consistently Burgess and Hicks, so maybe Burgess picked up a knock, or maybe they're just trying something new. Either way, they usually sub out after one possession, so I don't think ultimately it'll be a big difference. And it's the usual starting Quaffle line as of this weekend that you talked about, that big change. Switching out where Farnan and Mulcahy play on this team seems to have been a huge difference maker in the way this team is created. Farnan, Trudeau, Bear, and Sheridan, the starters for Washington in the Quaffle game.
Yeah, I really like it. It's added a whole nother element to the Admirals' second line, some physicality and also some scoring to go along with TJ Jenneret, who's been playing more with that second line. Mulcahy has brought that, and Farnan has made sure nothing has let up on the top line.
Yeah, I mean, Mulcahy is a veritable star at this point in the sport. I mean, I really think the two pieces that Washington got from Boston this summer, Cole and Mulcahy, were kind of the underrated key pieces of that championship run. And now they are with a different team, and that team just took down Boston. And, it's a combination of what they both offer. I mean, Cole, just incredible vision of the field. And while he hasn't gotten to use it as much on the offensive end in the current team's line, he's used it a ton on the defensive end. And Mulcahy, I mean, just every aspect of the ball. Physical, but also, I mean, he's added that mid-range shot to his game, has a really good idea of spacing himself, and really making a big difference. Starting line coming out for Charlotte as well. Ryan Davis, as we mentioned in the last game, is out for the day. He picked up a leg injury yesterday, or at least re-aggravated a leg injury yesterday. Starting beaters looks like it's Chris Hamill, Antonio Bonadio, and Quaffle players Trey Presley, Quincy Hildreth, Madison Burns, and Lee Hodge. I know you've been a little bit frustrated by maybe some of the Quaffle looks we've been seeing in Charlotte. I think you just kind of want to see their top scorers on the field more, right?
Yeah, I really do, and this is what I've been waiting for. Lee Hodge, Trey Presley, Quincy Hildreth all playing together. I'd love to see Logan Hartman get into the game more quickly. I'm excited to see what they can do. Maybe it was all in the plans because this rubber match against Washington matters to the Charlotte Aviators. They are trying to clinch their place at championships and not have to rely on the Admirals to take 3 from the Rochester Whiteout.
Yeah, some good-hearted ribbing going across the field from these two starting lines. A lot of familiarity with these teams. There's a good amount of UNC DNA in both teams. Yeah. Justin Cole and David Littleton over on Admirals. Lee Hodge, Flanagan, some examples from the Charlotte team. But really the core of Washington is going to be a lot of Maryland. The core of Charlotte's a lot of that South Carolina program. So we'll see how it all breaks down. It looks like Farnan and Presley are going to run for brooms up. Or maybe it's actually Sheridan. Yeah, it is Sheridan. Sheridan got a great break on that one. He's going to take control of the ball. Exchanges of bludgers, and it's going to be on a throwback from Hamill that, oh no, maybe Hutton will get bludger control. No, Bondia is able to box him out. So Quaffle to Washington, bludgers to Charlotte. Farnan has the ball in his hand. Quincy Hildreth playing chaser for, I think, the first time all series, with maybe the exception of a penalty switch off. Bonadio forces the reset, and Hicks looks a little bit uncomfortable, obviously playing with a beater partner she's not as used to. They could pressure Tyler Trudeau behind the second restrictor line. Instead, they're just going to let him work his way up.
And this is a good first look from the Charlotte Aviators defense, a completely different challenge for the Admirals right now with beaters who are aggressive and some very capable chaser defenders.
So Smith is going to come in, but Hutton's going to stay in. And a lucky bounce there is, no, not going to give them bludger control. It's going to allow for another press probably, but it's not going to matter because Julia Bear does finally bring back that mid-range shot we've been craving all series long. Washington takes a 10-0 lead.
I love it, and they were able to break that defensive set because Brendan Hutton made his way into the defense with some pump fakes and then created the space for Trudeau to find Bear.
Yep. So bludger control obviously is staying with Charlotte. Perry Wang has to throw a black headband on, which is going to leave his partner a little bit alone. Hutton looking for a play on Celine Richard, and he makes a little net contact. Meanwhile, it's Quincy Hildreth in the lane, and chaser Quincy Hildreth instantly making an impact.
Oh, how does Hildreth get unmarked at the far hoops? The Admirals tried to make a recovery, but Hildreth was too good. That's what happens when you're playing your best chasers together. They have their 4 top chasers in the game right now.
Oh yeah, Hartman has subbed in as well. This is a not messing around quaffle line here from Charlotte. Perry Wang wins a big beat against Melissa Smith, but Nardone picks up the problem for him. Smith will be beat, but either way, it is going to be bludger control around. And yeah, like you said, Charlotte is trying to throw out the best they've got. It's exactly what Jack was asking for before the game. Trudeau with the ball on the far side, facing a marked defense that's leaving Julia Bear currently unmarked. Logan Hartman, though, is lightly playing Sheridan behind the hoops, and Sheridan is going to get the ball. Celine Richard's going to pressure high on Sheridan and then pressure high on Bear. Bear is beat out of the play. Sheridan looked for a pass. It's tipped, though, by Presley, who had stepped out, and Quincy Hill just recovers.
Yeah, now the Charlotte Aviators are going to have to work on 2 bludger defense with Melissa Smith and Cody Nardone in the game.
Yeah, we know how stout this defense is, but how clever this top line of Charlotte can be at scoring, whether it's the fact that Quincy is so hard to take down or how dangerous Logan Hartman is around the hoops. Pass all the way back to Hildreth. He's unmarked, and he zips one. Oh, and I think, so Hartman was beat, but I think that shot might have been going through, but Hartman thought it was a pass.
Certainly looked like it from our angle, and now the Admirals are running the other way.
Oh, and Admiral's a little bit overly aggressive there. And we've got an injury to the shoulder of Trey Presley. Both players going down hard there, trying to get possession of the quaffle. You hate to see an injury like this, especially in a game that was definitely getting off to a pretty dynamic start back and forth.
Yeah, this is hard to see.
So this is our last game here of the Super Series and of the weekend at MLQ. Week 4 will be in the books. We have 2 more weekends of regular season action to go. Presley obviously returning after playing a long time for App State. Just athleticism is something that can never be discounted. And through this 12-game slate that Charlotte's been playing, really kind of acclimating themselves to the sport.
Yeah, they've been terrific. Really adding the physicality back to their game in this Super Series.
I'm wearing the green. There's no penalty on the play. The quaffle somehow ended up all the way back in the hands of Hartman. I guess that Celine Richard beat and recovery all happened before the whistle got blown. Hildreth's going to take a sub as well, so Classic's coming in. They need to adjust. They want to adjust. No, Smecker's going to stay in as keeper. Don't think she has a ton of experience wearing the green